myself for the news. 103.9 Livewire Weather Center. Count on it.
In Greenville, it's 87 and partly cloudy. In Irwin, it's 84 and clear. In Piney Flats, it's 88 and partly cloudy.
I'm a one-trick pony, literally.
Out of Nicaragua. Rip. Fair down the line, right on top of the line, into the corner. Around third comes Suzuki. Heading to second goes Acuna. 3 straight two-baggers for the Braves. And Acuna delivers the Braves their first lead of the ball game as it's now 3-2 as he claps his hands and points to the sky. Looking at a 1-2 count. Hit high in the air to right field. This one drifting back. This one at the wall. Judge is there. Leaps into the air. And he could not bring it back. That's a home run by Ronald Acuna. Bombs away here in the Bronx, and the Braves lead it 5-3.
Well, as I said before, I am now with the Red Sox going to, well, they're in first place right now in the American League East. Yankees maybe having to do it wild card route. Of course, they went to the championship series last year that way. But with the Braves right now, the National League just does not seem to have those strong teams. I mean, even the Indians, who I think are, like they did with their 22-game winning streak, really feeding on the bottom of baseball. They've got 4 of the worst teams in baseball in their division. Could you argue the Orioles are still around, so you can't argue the worst, but they're there, and they still got, 6-7 games, the Orioles, too, that they play. So, anyway, where I'm going with this is I think that the stronger teams, the deeper staffs, it seems like, you got Judge, you got Stanton in New York now, and, you got the lineups everywhere. You see what Francisco Lindor did with the Indians? It seems to me that the best teams in baseball this year seem to be in the American League. I mean, there's Milwaukee over in first, but what's Milwaukee? What? Gorman Thomas playing for them? Hold on, with Milwaukee, the Dodgers have been struggling. You'd think of them as being a likely repeat. You're thinking, well, could Bumgarner get the Giants back in it? The National League is so, theirs for the taking that the San Diego Padres, heard stories, were kind of intrigued by getting in the Manny Machado sweepstakes. Let's see here. We can make up that more than week's worth of games deficit if we had a real fine third baseman here, couldn't we? But there we go. Why not the Braves? And Julio Teheran is now being marketed as your 5th starter, as much criticism as he gets, this is not a bad team. They defeat the Yankees last night 5-3. You heard the home run went right out of the reach of Aaron Judge, which is not easy to do because Aaron Judge is actually taller than the Empire State Building. But nevertheless, you've got a circumstance where, the Braves, now they got Newcomb and they got the advantage on the bump here today. So, you look at all this, and I just think that the Braves have less competition in the playoffs than the Yankees would have. This could very well be a rematch of the 96 World Series. Didn't go the way the Braves fans wanted. The 99 World Series, which didn't go the way the Braves wanted. Heck, you want to really argue it? Let's go back to 57-58, although, Milwaukee Braves doesn't really care. Real rematch there would be Milwaukee and the Yankees. Brewers and the Yankees. Hey, just ask Ryan Duran. I know you can't now, but just take it from me because I did a story on him. Ryan Duran was a pitcher from Wisconsin way back when in the 50s. Was the closer of the Yankees. And he said, I went back home after winning the World Series in 58 and doing real well, and everybody hated me. Started making comments and all that, It was quite the interesting perspective. Anyway, here is Ron Acuna. And a lot of people are talking about him, Rookie of the Year, but he was on disabled list for a while. That being said, Walker Buehler, pitcher that some people were talking about, Rookie of the Year with the Dodgers, he was sent down, remember, last Friday, as a matter of fact, to A-ball on a rehab assignment. So this could still be, Acuna is still, he's there, let's talk about this. Let's start gauging the candidates for Rookie of the Year and see where he stacks up. Certainly, David Robertson, speaking of the 2-run opposite field home run that Acuna hit to win the ball game in the 11th inning for the Atlanta Braves last night. Well, here's David Robertson talking about what a good hitter Acuna is.
Well, I was hoping he'd stop before he got to the wall, but he just kept drifting, and then I could say, I was like, oh, God, he's got to jump for it, and I was like, well, it's just bad luck, he got too much wood on it. It's a good hitter.
Well, that wasn't a whole lot. Aaron Judge talks about, if you saw the replay, ball was hit to just over the reach of Judge in right field. I don't get Judge as being, Roberto Clemente, even with his height, however. I got to tell you that. Anyway, here's what Judge had to say about the ball.
Yeah, I filled in my glove. It didn't go in, and they got 2 runs. That's all really happened. Tough play, I want to make that play for D-Rob, and, wasn't able to come through.
So here are the standings in baseball, and I guess these are, let's see here, these are a little bit off now that I look at it here, but by and large, as we look at this, the Red Sox go ahead of the Yankees for first place. Now, I got to tell you something, that series over the weekend was a real turkey. Lopsided games, I said this yesterday, that I think Yankees and Red Sox, you talk to the fans, it's the best rivalry in baseball. You know what, though? It's only been about 10 years, 14, I guess, after the Red Sox, came back from the 3-0 deficit in 2004. And, now they've won 3 World Series since then, and the Yankees have only won 1. But for the majority of the time, since the Royal Rooters days until, Dave Martinez steals second, thanks to Terry Francona, if you don't want to confuse him with his father. And David Ortiz getting the game-winning hit, all that sort of stuff, and leading the comeback. You know what we're talking about. That Yankees-Red Sox rivalry was one-sided. Tell me between 1918 and 2003, just one great, Yankees, Red Sox moment against the Yankees that really goes down in history. I'm not suggesting that, I'm sure I could probably find a 4-hit game for, Carl Yastrzemski somewhere with the Red Sox against the Yankees. But, when the Red Sox were good, usually the Yankees were bad. I guess the 75 pennant race, maybe? But you're really stretching, and certainly the 75 pennant race doesn't go down in lore like the 78 race does. Something like that. Really think of a time where you say, the Red Sox during that, 86-year period where they didn't win anything. They had this big victory against the Yankees, though. Really made their year. I can't really think, 86, the Red Sox won the division pretty handily. What's the big deal there, with that? But Giants and Dodgers, that's always competitive. Started thinking, though, really, it seems as if in most rivalries there's a have and there's a have-nots. Tennessee fans hate this because their main rivalries are with Florida and Alabama, and those are have-nots. Tennessee fans used to like that Vandy. Hey, we're the state school. We're everyman. you're pretentious with your nose in the air. Tennessee beats Eustace Tilley. You know, that was the idea there. Well, not the last 6 years. So again, it becomes haves and have-not. You know, really, even the Iron Bowl, Auburn and Alabama, has been pretty much a trading punches. I mentioned this, but yeah, you do think of Alabama having the upper hand in that rivalry. Maybe not to the extreme of Yankees and Red Sox during Boston's 86-year World Championship hiatus, but still, yeah, you really do think, yeah, it's the Tide that has the upper hand there. I don't know, Florida State, Florida maybe, kind of even Steven. UCLA, Southern California, usually that one, football, the Trojans, basketball, the Bruins. It's the way that you think of it there. You know, I'm trying to think of rivalries here. Notre Dame, Southern California may not necessarily be haves and have-nots, but there was that long Notre Dame winning streak against the Trojans for much of the 1980s and 90s, right? So you had that. Anyway, where I'm going with this is that usually a rivalry, as a result, I said Yankees-Red Sox does tend to be, I think, something of an overrated rivalry for that reason. And I know ESPN will say, well, we get great ratings for it. This is what the fans care about. Okay, I'll buy that. But, you know, I've always said this. Bud Selig tried unsuccessfully to contract two teams, and I'm glad that he did not succeed. Look, where would we be right now? You know, think about this. We argue about should the Twins be in Elizabethton. There would be no Elizabethton Twins if Bud Selig had had his way. You know, after a great World Series, I know, let's put the kibosh on the good feeling here. Yeah, I want to make sure that people in Montreal and Minnesota will never get to experience this again. This 10 years after Minnesota wins an incredible World Series. Or how about, I don't know, you know, Bud Selig, obviously the Washington Nationals. An underachieving team year in and year out, thanks to Scott Boros's meddlesomeness with the front office, making sure his clients are used in a way that isn't conducive to victory, but is conducive to them getting paid. And that's why the Nationals don't win. Still, though, aren't you glad that baseball's back in D.C.? Even if it did come at the cost of baseball in Montreal, which I do not approve of. But still, I don't approve of baseball being in Texas and not D.C., you know? Anyway, where I'm going with this is simply put, you know, I've always thought Red Sox Yankees a little overrated, but as I said, Bud Selig tried to contract two teams and failed. ESPN tried to contract 28 teams and they succeeded. At least it seems that way sometimes. If it's not Yankees, Red Sox, you know, sometimes the national media isn't all that concerned. And I don't really think they were that concerned even with the two nationally televised games. Primarily, like I said, over the weekend, the two nationally televised games, primarily because those games were such turkeys and all this. Anyway, you take a look at it now. I know it's a midweek game, but really, think about this. Really, think about this. You've got Braves and Yankees, two very popular teams going at it right now. Where's the real attention for this? Nationally. Think about this. We're not hearing World Series preview, and we should. Because let me ask you this. Who else in the National League right now is better than the Atlanta Braves? Tri-City Sports Now. By the way, a record was set in the Appalachian League yesterday. I'll tell you about that. Plus, the Vols and Bucks are making some money. I'll tell you about that as well when we return. Tri-City Sports Now.
I'm a one-trick pony, literally. I show up at kids' parties and act cute.